Do you have weeds in your yard or around your garden that you'd like to get rid of but you don't want pesticides? Well, I purchased this little torch about a year ago. I've used it a bunch of times since then. I've come to really like it. As you can see, I got a garden right over there, and I don't want to be using pesticides around my garden. And I got my driveway here. I burn it too. And then I got a space over there that sometimes I plant a garden, so I don't want to be using pesticides or chemicals over there. So today, I'm going to show you how I burn an area, and then in a few days or maybe a week, I'm going to come back and show you what it looks like. So let's get started with burning some weeds. Now the first thing, I got a 20-gallon propane tank. It's mostly full. I turn this nozzle on a little bit. Well, the propane down there is on. I turn this on a little bit till I hear gas hissing. Press the igniter. Now I got a little flame. As you can see, it's a small flame. I turn the gas up some, but the flame stays small. When you pull the handle, the flame gets more intense. Like that. Now that's about where I burn it. I don't run it as hot as it'll go. I run it about like that. And I've already burned a good bit of this, but I'm going to be going down through here in my driveway. I'm going to show you how I go about it and how much heat I put on these weeds and stuff. Then we'll come back and show you the result in a few days. All right, let's burn some weeds with this little propane torch. Now I've already burned over to the middle, down to here. If you can see that black spot, sometimes when you're burning you have trouble, because I don't burn my weeds to just charcoal them. As you can see, the ones behind me have already been burned. They still look nice and green, a little wilted, but that's all. But as you go along, when you get to your corners, because you can only do so big of an area, burn a spot, and that way you'll know how far you went to when you start your next section. So what I'll do, like this section right here, I've burned out to here, but my driveway goes over to there. So I'm going to start with this. And that's about how much heat I put on it. Now I'm going to go down another section and just continue. Now down here, I've burned over to here, so I got to come all the way across to here, but I'm just going to start out. I do smaller sections. You can see that burned spot right there. That's where I stopped last time. So I'll start here and I'll just sweep until I get over there. I'll burn me a spot so I'll know where I stopped. So there I burned a spot, so I know where I stopped. And you don't have to burn your grass till it just turns to charcoal. Just give it some heat. May take a trial and error a few times, but it doesn't take all that much heat. Now one thing I wanted to revisit a moment, when I was editing my video, and this is a couple days after the video started, I was telling you to burn a spot so you could tell where you started and stopped, but in the video you could see black marks where I had burned, but that was the angle of the camera. When I was standing up looking down at it, you couldn't really tell that. Sometimes it's hard to see what grass has started to wilt and what hasn't when you're going over it as fast as I was. Now if you go real slow, you'll burn the grass a lot more. It's easier to tell, but you don't have to burn it that much to kill it. As you can see, this is mostly dead now. And this is, today's Monday. I burned this off Wednesday of last week, and this is what it looks like now. So I do like this tool, it works quite well. Like I said, this is the propane torch with the regular start, the little clicker start like you have on a gas grill. Got it from Harbor Freight. If you do purchase one of these, I highly recommend you get the one with the electric start on it, because quite often when you're burning something, the flame will get a backdraft or something will cause the flame to go out. So it's not unusual to have to be relighting your flame pretty regularly. So if you get one, make sure you get the one with the clicker to automatically restart it. Now right here I'll show you something that I won't be burning. I learned this as a bad mistake when shortly after I got this little propane torch from Harbor Freight. I was burning weeds around my blueberry bushes. And what happened was when I was burning here, the heat from the torch came up and it seared my blueberry bushes. It didn't kill them, but it hurt them. And that was definitely a learning experience. So just be aware that when you're burning weeds, that heat is coming up and it can get plants above where you're actually aiming your flame. So these around here, I'll just use my weed eater. If you can see between these raised beds, I went down through there, being very careful that the flame didn't get to my vegetables that are coming up. And you can see that's already dead. That was done Thursday of last week. Today's Wednesday, the following week. And that looked like that on Monday. Sunday, Monday, it looked just like that. But anyway, just be careful when you're burning weeds that the heat comes up and it can get other plants. And also you'll see a hose pipe here at my feet. Well, I guess you can see it. But I got my hose pipe out here. Anytime you're burning stuff, always make sure you got a hose pipe ready to go just in case something gets out of hand. This is a better view of the area that I did 6 days ago. And as I said earlier, I went over it about the same way as I'm going over stuff today. And that was Thursday of last week, and today is Wednesday. But I was out of town for the weekend. When I got home Monday, it looked just like this. Now, one of the tips I want to leave you with, and for most people this will be a really big duh, but I want to include it anyway. The end out here gets really hot, obviously, when it's burning the flame. But even after you turn the flame off, it takes a considerable amount of time for this out here to cool down. Now right now it couldn't burn me, but it's been off for probably 20-30 minutes. But just be aware that just because the flame has been turned out, that you can't get burned by this thing. I've got a very important tip for you today about this particular tool and using it. If you don't listen to anything I say in this video, please pay attention to this safety tip. This is poison ivy. I'll put a close-up picture up here in the corner. Most people are allergic to it. It'll give you a nasty rash on your hands or wherever it touches you. And that's really annoying. But what can be much worse? If you burn this stuff, make sure you don't breathe the smoke that comes off of it burning. Because if you breathe the smoke, the chemicals within that poison ivy, poison oak, will get into smoke. You breathe it in, it gets in your lungs, and that can be a very dangerous thing. So be extremely cautious around poison oak, poison ivy. If you burn it, stay out of the smoke. At this point, I'd just like to say thank you for visiting Do It Yourself with Wayne. We would really appreciate it if you'd click like on our video and subscribe to our channel and do all those things. And we just hope you have a great day.